Okay, guys, I'm so excited that you came here, that you showed up, that I can teach you about how to buy a horse and not get taken advantage of, even if, you've never done it before, even if you're new to horses or you're new to buying calf horses. So for myself, I've literally probably been involved with buying hundreds of horses over the years. My dad was a horse trainer. I was around a lot of different horse traders growing up, and I kind of figured out the do's and don't do's when you're buying a horse, because how many of you have ever bought a horse and it's like, oh my gosh, this is the biggest purchase of my life, or this is such a big expense that I hope this doesn't go wrong. And for me, every time I buy a horse, I'm like, I don't want this to go wrong. It's a very expensive thing. It's something that if you do it wrong, then you got to try to figure out how to sell it or find somebody else who likes the horse more than you. And sometimes it can be difficult. So for me, I really wanted to do this training to show you guys, not only is there a way to buy a horse, but there's a strategy behind it. And then there's a lot of things that you can do when buying a horse that can keep you from making the wrong mistake. And that's really what we're after. We're really after getting what we want, that perfect horse that fits us every single time, and not, buying the wrong one and wasting a ton of money. And so that's really what led me to the 7 steps to buying a horse. I don't care if you've bought 50 horses or 60 horses, or you've bought no horses, or you're a beginner, or you're very advanced. Some of this stuff is just basic, but some of it's pretty advanced too. And I recently just bought a horse. And so I went through all these things. I thought, man, this would make a great training, a great video for anybody out there that's insecure about their ability to buy a horse and maybe don't know who to trust and any of that stuff. So without further ado, I'm going to dive right into it. And that takes me to the very first thing. You clearly should define your goal. So what is the most important thing? Why are we buying the horse and what are we after? What is the goal? So many people are like, oh, I need another horse. My horse is doing this. My horse is doing that. My horse is too old, or my horse is too slow, or my horse is too green, and I got to get another one. The biggest thing is to really define the goal. That's foundation. That's step number 1. What's the goal with getting the new horse? Okay. The goal is, I'm green. I need a solid horse to allow me to do my thing. Give me the same shot, give me the same go, gonna give me a good run. It's gonna be the same thing every time. And my goal, because I'm a green roper, is to find that rock solid horse. That might be some of your goals. So what are your goals? Might be okay, so I've had that rock solid horse. I've had that, 15 to 20 year old horse. And now I want something that's got a little bit more gas, or a little bit more energy, or a little bit more get up and go. And the thing is, defining that goal is like a ship coming in. Imagine if you're a ship and you're sailing from the ocean, you're coming to the coast. What do you see first off? You see a lighthouse. And that lighthouse is bright. That lighthouse is out there. That lighthouse keeps you focused on what you have to do. And goals are much the same. I don't care if you're, a rodeo athlete, a football player, a calf roper, a barrel racer, a bull rider. What's the goal, guys? What's the goal? And buying a horse is no different. So many times we say, all right, I'm a beginner. And this is just an example. Okay, I'm a beginner and I'm just getting going, and I need a calf horse, or I need a barrel horse, or I need a bulldogging horse, or I need a trail riding horse. And I go to this place and somebody's got this really beautiful horse. This horse is beautiful, but it's a 3-year-old, right? And I'm green, and that 3-year-old's certainly green. And what do we know, right? Green and green makes black and blue. I've seen it so many times. People out there, they go out, they see a horse and they buy, and they don't follow their goal. They don't follow that path, that lighthouse path that they want. And they ended up getting wooed by beauty, right? Maybe the horse is a Grula or a buckskin or a beautiful paint or something like that. And they get off track of their goal and they get blinded by the beauty of the horse. And the person selling the horse is like,
this is the most beautiful horse, and this horse is amazing.
And you're thinking about how great you're going to look on this horse, but they didn't tell you that he's green and that he might buck with you, or he's not broke very well. And you don't know that until after you bought your horse. So the number one thing, what is your goal? You need a rock solid horse? Do you want a horse that's green, that's maybe started, that you can finish? Do you want a project horse, something that's never done it before? What is your goal? Clearly define your goal and don't stray from that goal. It could be I want a beautiful horse. I want him between the ages of 7 and 10. I want him to be 14 hands, and that's my goal. That's what I'm sticking to. And no matter what anybody says, I'm going to stay hooked on this goal to get this horse, because I know that's exactly what I need to get the goal that I want. So number one thing in the 7 steps to buying a horse, clearly define the goal that you have and don't get talked out of it. So many times when we go to see a horse, we're easily persuaded to do something different that doesn't align to our goal. So define the goal and don't get talk out of it. That's number one. Number two, be specific and don't waver. Be specific as you want. How big is this horse that I'm looking at? What's his stride like? How does he carry his body? Be specific as to what you want. And it ties in closely to number one, like what's your goal? Goal is like your desired outcome, your desired thing. Goal two is being specific as to what you want. I want a 14-2 hand horse. Not only that, but I want him to weigh 1,100 pounds. I want him to be wide. I want him to have lots of feet, lots of bone. I want their stride to be a quick strided horse, or I want a long strided horse. I want them to run with their head low and down, or I want them to run high. Like, think about the way that you use the horse and be specific exactly as to what you want, and don't get wavered by it. Much like goal number one, we can get wavered by, how pretty it is. And when we start saying to ourselves, oh, but if I change myself, this horse will be perfect. And that's not the truth. Yes, you can become a better individual with the horse. You can be a better horseman, a horsewoman. But the truth is, the way we ride is not going to change overnight. So if you think that, hey, if I just change this, and this about me and the way I ride, then that horse will be perfect, that's the wrong way to think. What you should do is be very specific as to what you want in the horse, buy that horse, and then improve your riding over time as you get to know the horse. So number two, guys, you must be specific as to what you want. And listen, it could be so specific, like think about it. You could literally say, I want a blue roan, I want him 14-2, I want a quick strided horse, I want really good feet, I want really good bone, I don't want crooked legs, and then you just go out and find them. Now, I will tell you that horse is very hard to find. I have a horse that is exactly that horse, but I stumbled onto him by accident. I wasn't trying to find a blue roan. I am very specific as to what I want when I go find a horse, but it's never like color. It's never like beauty. It's never pretty. I mean, yes, a pretty horse is awesome, but I'm after how good they work. How consistent do they work? How good they are, and do they fit that specific framework that I'm after? You see, I used to be like, hey, I'll take any horse that works good, which is fine. It's difficult to find the exact horse that you want. I used to think, all right, I'm going to take whatever horse that I can get that fits my framework, but I don't care if he's like 15-3 or if he's 14 hands. I'm just going to rope on him. And what happened was, yes, I got to the top in the world and I did really well, but until I got ultra specific as to what I wanted and was patient, I went from being a top 5 guy in the world to a world champion. I had a horse I called Bailey that was nearly 15-3, a massive calf horse. And I decided that after several years of rodeoing on this horse, winning nearly $1 million on him and being very close to winning the world championship numerous times, that I was gonna be very specific. So I started trying horses all over the place, and I was looking for this horse and I was looking for that horse. I knew I wanted something smaller, a little bit smaller, a little quicker stride, and I stumbled onto Nico. I got Nico after trying him multiple times, which I'll get to more of that in the future. And I went from being a top 5 guy or a top 10 guy year in and year out to being a world champion in a couple of years, tying 2 calves and 6 at the national finals in the first year I rode him there. So to me, it was like, yes, I rope okay, but that horse being ultra specific as to what I wanted and not wavering is what took me from here all the way up to here. So be specific as to what you want and do not waver. Again, don't let somebody talking fast or using psychological triggers trick you into thinking that you need this other horse.
You're smarter than him.
Go with your gut. You know what's right. You know what fits you. Let's go on to number 3. Once you locate that horse, you want to start by asking the seller multiple questions. Questions like, how old is the horse? Who trained the horse? Where did the horse come from? Where was the horse bred? Does he have a short stride or a long stride? Is he good to be around? Am I trying to buy this horse for my kids? Am I trying to buy this horse as a green horse? So what's his temperament? Ask the seller all these questions. And guys, this is so important. A lot of times people think, oh, that's a nice horse I've seen in video, so now let's go try him. I'm here to tell you that you can spend tens of thousands of dollars traveling all over the country trying horses. I've tried 20 to 30 horses over the course of a couple of years just before I figured out this framework. So it's so important to pre-qualify this horse with all these questions. The disposition, is he an energetic horse? Is he a laid-back horse? Is he very kind with people, or is he very skittish? Can you catch him in a paddock, or does he run away from you and try to play games? Like, all these questions you should be asking the seller. The last thing that you'll want to ask the seller, guys, is what's the downfall? And this will stop up a lot of sellers. Okay, a lot of times people are really good about telling you all the great things about the horse, all the things that are perfect, all the things that they absolutely love. But when you say, tell me the downfalls to this horse, they're like, well, okay. And if they kind of hem-haw around and they don't give you anything, you probably know that they're not telling you the truth. I mean, most of the time, every horse has one downfall. So ask the seller what the downfall is, and then be specific. If the seller says, well, this one downfall is if you run too many of them and, on him in a row, he gets to squatting in the corner. He gets bad in the box. Okay, well, why does he do that? The reason he gets bad in the box is because he wasn't trained with a proper foundation. He was rushed into roping. So now every time you put a little bit of pressure on him, he gets bad in the box. So ask the seller, guys, what the downfalls are. Ask the seller also about maintenance issues as far as soundness. Say, has the horse always been sound? Does the horse have any kind of ailing injuries, a past tendon issue, or a past torn muscle, or a past coffin bone issue, or navicular issues, or special type of shoeing? Like, these are all questions that you should ask, okay? Tell me about the horse. What's the health? Ask the seller about all these things. I know you're thinking, my gosh, that's a lot of questions. But literally, every time I buy a horse, I probably ask 30 to 40 questions about the horse before I even get into like, hey, let's meet up and let's try the horse. So ask a lot of questions. And the questions that you ask should be tailored towards the type of horse that you want. If you're after a horse that's, 14-2, you don't want a long strided horse. Is this horse a short strided horse? How long a neck does this horse have? If it's a really long neck and I'm 11 years old trying to figure out how to rope, I don't want that horse because I won't be able to see cattle. All these things are questions that you should ask, because every question that you ask is like a hurdle for the seller to jump over before they finally get to selling you the horse or get to trying the horse. I don't just show up and try a horse. I'm very specific as to what I want. I know the body type as to what type of horse I am. I don't waver, and I ask a million questions so that when I show up and I try a horse, there's a good chance that this horse is going to fit perfectly everything that I'm looking for. And be diligent, guys. Don't rush into this. Renee is an amazing young lady that is in my mentorship program. Some of you may have known her or met her, and she was hurt really bad by a horse. And that's kind of what I'm doing this all for. I don't want to see anybody get hurt by a horse. I want to see them find the perfect horse from the beginning. That way it doesn't keep them from going on and doing what they love. So many times people will buy that horse that's green, and they're a green roper, and they're a green rider, and then all of a sudden, green and green makes black and blue, right? You get hurt, something happens, and it keeps you from progressing within the sport. Hey, my friend, I just wanted to remind you that if you want to take your mental toughness to the next level, I created this thing called the Cowboy Challenge. It's an 11-day mental toughness challenge. If you are struggling with your mental toughness, maybe you don't have the consistency that you want, maybe that your diet sucks, maybe that you're not getting regular sleep, or you're just, maybe lazy. If you want some help getting to the next level with your mindset, with your attitude, with your mental toughness, go ahead and check out the Cowboy Challenge, and it's in the description below. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. I truly will read every single comment on this video. And guess what? If you want to watch another amazing video, check this one out right here. I know that it will serve your life. Take care. Adios.